In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 tricky questions that you might get asked during your F1 visa interview and how you can get to answer them correctly. Most people get denied not because they don't have the right answers to these questions, but because they don't know exactly how to answer them in such a way that the visa officer is going to be convinced to actually issue you that visa. The very first question that you should prepare for is, why this school? They are asking you this question because they need to be sure that you have done your homework. You don't just respond with "it is good" or "it is a top university" or "it is an R1 university in the US." You want to go deep into the program curriculum. You want to go deep into the professors that you are going to be working with. You want to talk about your research interest. You might even decide to talk about the alumni body of your school and that you are looking at getting connected to the alumni body even after graduation. I'm going to give you an example of what you should say, but this exactly should not be how you say it. It's just to guide you into something that you can model. So if they ask you why this school, you want to talk about your program. You'll be like, oh, I chose this school because of its interconnected nature in the program that I'm going for. Then you put your program in there. Working closely with Professor A and Professor X is going to broaden my horizon when it comes to the actionable steps that I need to take in my field or career. And it's going to increase my perceived value when I return to my country to take up the position of this and that, right? Just say that as an example of how you can model all of this. Again, do not say this verbatim, right? So it's for you to have an idea of how you can answer such questions. And at the end of the day, it's going to help you towards getting your visa approved. So another thing that you might get asked is, what are your plans after graduation? In other words, what are your post-study plans? Don't say something like, I'm going to come back and start looking for a job, or I'm going to stay back and do OPT. You need to be strategic when it comes to this. You need to let them understand that you have people in your country that you are going back to, and of course, you have like a career to build. You are coming here to study so that you can have some sort of knowledge that can help you become a better career person at your industry, right? So you are saying something like, oh, this degree is going to help me to become this and that, right? And to give me the opportunity for me to join the advisory board of this particular company. I'm currently on their waiting list, and I told them that I'm going for this particular degree that is going to take me about 2 years or 3 years or 4 years to earn. And then coming back to my country is going to help me to be better fit for this particular position. The third question they might ask is, who is sponsoring your education, or how are you going to be funding your studies? If you have a graduate assistantship position, you can tell them that, oh, I have a graduate assistantship position that I have secured, and this and this and this are what I did for me to be able to get this graduate assistantship position. The position covers this, and in this semester, I'm going to be working with this, right? So all of those things are ways to show that you actually worked for the graduate assistantship position. And if you have like a deficit to cover, it is necessarily not about who is funding your studies. It is more of how are they making their money? How are they making their income, right? It is not enough for you to say that my father is going to be sponsoring me or my uncle is going to be sponsoring me. You might say something around how your dad is sponsoring you, and this is what your dad does to make his money, to show that he's comfortable enough to sponsor you or to fund your studies, right? Oh, my dad is going to be sponsoring my studies. He's working at this. He has been doing this for some years now, and this is the amount that he makes annually. Apart from that, he does other things as well that actually adds to his income stream, and he is more than enough or more than capable to actually sponsor my studies. Things like that. It shows that you have credibility, right? That yes, you say your dad is going to be sponsoring you, or your mom or your uncle or whatever, and then how they are going to be funding you is basically about what is their income stream, for how long have they been working, and all of that. So you might want to add that to your preparation. And you don't wait for the visa officer to ask you what your sponsor do. Of course, they might cut you short in between. You might say that, oh, my dad is sponsoring me, and they'll be like, what do your dad do, right? But you might want to say it at a stretch, right? That my dad is sponsoring me, and this is what he does. So you don't wait for them to ask. If they cut you short, that, oh, okay, so what does your dad do? Then you can go ahead to answer that this is what your dad does, and this is how long he has been working, this is the amount that he earns, and this is what he has been doing before now. Another question you might be asked is, what is your academic background? They are asking to check for consistency. If you graduated 10 years ago, why are you going for a master's now? If you graduated from your first degree 10 years ago, let's say you had your bachelor's degree in 2010, why are you going for a master's now? There's an academic gap. So you need to understand that, and you need to know how to answer that correctly. Why are you going at this time? So the visa officers want to check for consistency. So you had your first degree in this, now you are going for this. What is the connection between your first degree and what you are going for now? You need to be able to identify that, and you need to be able to confidently answer that. So I always suggest, this is not an advice, I always suggest that you go in line with what you have been doing before. If you have your background in engineering and you want to go for electrical engineering or civil engineering, it could still be within the same line. It could just be that you want to pivot into another specific field of engineering. But it is different if you had your first degree in engineering and then you are saying that you want to go for nursing or you want to go for medicine and all of that. There might be some sort of discrepancy, but if you are able to identify those discrepancies and then justify it with your career plans and progression, then you should be able to answer correctly. So, what is your first degree? Oh, I had my first degree in this particular course. I finished in the year this at the University of this, and I'm pursuing this now so that I can advance on what I already know before, right? So those are ways in which you can get to answer that. I'm trying as much as possible not to give you like exact answers so that you are not going to use that exact answers alone as a guide. You should be able to come up with your own unique answers based on your scenario and based on your case. Another common question that could be tricky is, why the US? It is not enough for you to say that the US has good educational system or the US is known for education quality. No, you need to also be unique in the way that you answer this question. Tie why the US to the program that you are doing and how the US offers a lot of research opportunities in the program that you are going for. You can say something around, oh, the US is known for its vast research when it comes to renewable energy, and this is going to affect me as a person because I'm also going to be working toward that research area in my program. In fact, Introduction to Renewable Energy is one of the courses that I'm going to be taking this semester, and I look forward to learning from Professor this. Because so you have seen how you have been able to tie the research aspects of the United States and how it is focused on research area in renewable energy and how you are doing it in your particular program and the professor that you are going to be working with. So it shows that it is interconnected. You are not just going to the United States without a purpose. You are going there, that's okay, fine. I'm going to be working as a research assistant with this person. And even if I'm not working as a research assistant, I'm going to be attending conferences that is in line with my program, because my program does conference every summer and we are going to be getting it done. And it's going to boost my research area when it comes to renewable energy, and I'm going to see it in a broader perspective apart from what I already know about. You see, these are things you can put in line and make yourself stand out amongst other applicants that are also going for the visa interview. Another question you might be asked is, why this program? Now, this is beyond my program is the best or my program is the only program that has research area. It is beyond all of those. You want to tie it back to your background. Oh, I've been working in the renewable energy space since 2018. And this program actually speaks to what I'm currently doing now in my career, because even in my organization, we are looking at establishing our efforts in other West African countries. And this program is going to give me the unique experience that I need to be able to ensure that when I come back, I'm going to put in like the most sophisticated technology or the most sophisticated, other things. Just tie everything back to you going back to your country. So you've seen that you've tied it back to your backgrounds, to what you've been doing before, what you are doing now, and your future prospects in terms of your career vision, what you are going to be doing next. So when they ask you why this program, tie it back to your background, what you are currently doing now. Majority of you have done a lot of things that are undocumented. Sit back after this video and write out all the things that you have done in this life. If you see that they are not related, find a way to tie it such that it's going to relate to it. And when you tie that to it, it's going to help you to actually speak more effortlessly, and then you'll be able to own your words. Another question they might ask could be centered around your family. Now, this could be two parts. and it could be very tricky. They might ask to know more about your home tie if you actually have relatives in your country, or they might ask to know the financial capability of your family members. So they might ask, what does your father do? What does your mother do? Do you have siblings? Then that is the place for you to toot it that, oh, my father is the CEO of this, my mother is a trader and she trades for large enterprises, blah, blah, blah. I have a brother who is currently in this particular country and is doing well in this particular field. My sister is married, blah, 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 and she can do this. I have a younger brother that is this and is still in university. You know, something around that line, right? So it shows credibility. It shows that your family is also viable and you've been able to establish home ties by saying that. Another question they might ask you is, do you have a relative in the United States? This is a very tricky question. If you do have a relative in the United States, please tell them that you have a relative in the United States, but do not overshare. Do not lie, do not overshare. If you have somebody here, let them know that yes, I have somebody in the United States, but you immediately let them know that you are not staying in the same state or you are not staying in the same city. If you don't have a relative here, let them know that, oh, I don't have a relative in the United States. All my family are here in Nigeria or in Ghana. Another question that they might ask is, have you traveled out of your country before? This could be tricky as well, especially if you have like a huge deficit to pay. They want to know your financial capability. If you have a sponsor that can actually fund that huge amount, then you should at least be able to have visited your neighboring country in your home country. So they can ask you, have you traveled out in the last 5 years? You can tell them that, oh yes, I've been to this, I've been to this, I've been to this, I went there for this, if you have time to speak, right? You can tell them that, so perhaps you went there for vacation, or you went there for an holiday, or you went there for a conference. If you have not traveled out of Nigeria before, or if you have not traveled out of your country before, you can just tell them that no, I've not had any reason to leave my country. And that's it. So another question that might be asked will be, why should I approve this visa? Now, this is a very tricky question, but don't panic, just stay cool, right? You might say that, oh, I've been given an admission to a very competitive program at the University of Minnesota. And this program is going to help me to develop my skills in this, that. Apart from that, I have an established connection with my current place of work, and my role is going to be intact for me when I return. And I will, in fact, be coming back to a senior role by the time we are going to be expanding on our effort into East African markets. Getting this visa is going to help me to acquire all that I need in terms of connection, the knowledge, and the research opportunities that are in there for me to expand the efforts back here in my current country, and of course expanding the frontiers of Nigeria on a global scale. So all of those things are intertwined, right? So don't panic at all. When you are asked that question, just solidify the fact that you have been given an admission to a very competitive program, you are coming back to your current place of work, or you are coming back to your country, or whatever that you are going back, whatever you are going back to your country to do. And more importantly, you have established financial capability, that you have a funding and all of that. This might be a bonus tip. And the bonus tip is, how do you get this funding? Most people actually get triggered by this question because you feel like the money, they just gave it to you because you didn't do plenty interviews. But it's not entirely true. You did a lot of interviews. Even if the funding comes to you automatically, you wrote a strong statement of purpose, you wrote CV, and you were interviewed, right? One generic way that a lot of people answer this is, oh, I submitted a statement of purpose, I submitted a strong application, I submitted a strong CV. That's crap. Apologies. Everybody submitted a statement of purpose. Everybody submitted CV. What made you stand out, that out of everybody who submitted all of this, you were the one that they decided to give this graduate assistantship to, right? So you might say that, oh, apart from the fact that I submitted a very strong application packet, one of the things that actually stood me out was the fact that I submitted a 2-page portfolio that talks about my unique experience and my work. I showed them what I've been able to do here in Nigeria and how I've been able to impact about 5,000 individuals in 3 West African countries. And my professors were actually intrigued by this. In fact, during the interview, I showed them how exactly my experience actually fits into the role that I applied for. And in this semester, I'm going to be working as a graduate research assistant, where I'm going to be working with Professor this on how to establish this and that and that. in the next semester, I'm also going to be working on this with professor so and so. So you have tied that. It shows that you actually got the funding, not that they dashed you. It shows receipt. It shows that you actually worked for it. So that said, these questions might be the questions that you may be asked during your visa interview, and ensure that you prepare for them. Remember, you are not preparing to cram your answers. You are preparing to internalize your story such that you'll be able to give a confident answer to the visa officer. I wish you the very best in your visa interview, and I really hope that you get your visa approved. So that will be all for today's video. I will be seeing you in the next video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Do all of those good stuff. And remember that your yes is on the way, and it has to meet you ready. See you in the next video, guys.